Reduce Fear and Limitations with Hypnotherapy. Hi, I'm Dan Ross, director of the Silicon Valley Hypnosis Center, and I get a lot of people that come to me with fears and other limitations, and I'm going to kind of lump those together here because often limitations are due to fear. So if somebody has a specific fear, like I've been seeing a lot of people recently for fear of driving just in general, fear of driving on freeways, over bridges, overpasses, underpasses, all that stuff, that obviously creates a limitation in their life. And most other specific fears like flying or speaking in public or things like that, they create limitations for people. So certainly I work on specific fears and phobic responses, strong responses. And those are relatively straightforward. Often there's a kind of stimulus response going on that somebody, let's say they had a snake phobia, they saw a snake once and they had such a strong negative response, it got linked up in their mind to the snake, right? So it creates a chain, think of this like a chain link, where there maybe was no negative response before, not a very strong one. Again, they might have had maybe a snake surprised them or was very close to them. I had one client, somebody threw a snake at them, and so that caused, that really strong negative response every time they thought of a snake, or of course were in the presence of a snake. So it created that link, and what we can do is break that link and then replace it with a more empowering one. And the goal isn't to be, jumping up and down with joy when you see a snake, but it can also to have that healthy respect. So where I live here, we see a lot of rattlesnakes. I see a lot of rattlesnakes when I'm out and about, out in the open space, and my goal is to have a healthy fear of them. I don't want to go pet a rattlesnake, but I also don't want or need to have a strong negative response to it, right? It's just, oh, there's a snake, so keep your distance, right? So that's true if we're working on specific fears. And then if we talk about general limitations, a general limitation might involve a number of fears that people have. So fear of success, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of being too good, right, and standing out, which might make them feel unsafe. And those are all examples of limiting beliefs that people have, which can drive limitations. So sometimes there are limiting beliefs related to specific fears, and sometimes there's almost always limiting beliefs that are connected to specific limitations. So let's say somebody has a limitation, they feel limited in the type of job that they can get next, or maybe they want to switch careers and they just feel limited because they don't think they have the age or education or experience or whatever that is. And requirements aside, like if somebody wants to be a surgeon and they don't have an MD degree and they aren't actually qualified, that's not what we're talking about here. But all too often people hold themselves back artificially just because they have those internal limitations. So we can talk about external limitations, again, not actually being qualified for something, but if we set that aside and we just look at what are the internal limitations, then those often come down to limiting beliefs. They can come down to some internal conflicts that people have about, yeah, I think I can do it, but ooh, I don't know, there's some part of me holding back. So that's the deeper work that we do. We can change habits and behaviors. I can teach you strategies. We can change habits and behaviors that can help overcome some limitations, but really we want to change those limiting beliefs, those deeper patterns that may have you feel that strong grab, that pullback when it's time to move forward. So if you find yourself moving back or pulling back or having that fear when you should be moving forward where it's appropriate, then that's right for what we'll be doing. Because when you have a goal in mind and you're competent and qualified for it and you have the skill for it, we just don't want to have anything in your way that stops you from moving full speed forward. So whether it's a specific fear or whether it's a more general limitation in some area of your life or multiple areas, this is the kind of work that we do to clear that out. Let's clear out those limiting beliefs. Let's break those links and those fears, and let's install a sense of confidence, courage, excitement, fun, playfulness, passion, whatever that is that will drive you forward. And if you want help with that, go ahead and look below and there's more information. I look forward to helping you with that.